All right, we are live back in the studio with Mr. Jono Toscano. How's it going, bro?
Hey, cheers, bro.
Let's start this off with a cheers, actually. Good idea.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for having me.
No worries, man. How's things been going? It's been a minute.
Dude, it's been a year, I believe.
Yeah, pretty much.
A lot's changed. I've learned a lot about myself since I saw you last. I now know the perfect growth length of my facial hair is after 5 days. So anything after that, it gets a little bit long. Anything before that, I start to look like a teenager again.
So you've just gone on a bit of a learning journey to just discover your own body.
Yes, I've learned a lot about myself, mate, since I last saw you.
But I know you've been super busy, dude. Like, you have so much going on your socials. Like, I mean, you're putting out content all over social media with the bedroom to main room courses that you're doing. You've also got your podcast sort of thing that you're doing with the Jono Shout. And, you know, you're still chucking out tunes, doing heaps of gigs, man. Like, how are you finding time to do all this stuff?
I smoke a lot of ice. No, I'm kidding. Dude, no, yeah. So I wasn't working for a bit there. So what I was doing was I had a lot of downtime, obviously. Hence why I had a lot of time to do the bedroom to main room content. The reason I started the bedroom to main room stuff is just because I wanted to help people like start out DJing.
Love that.
And it's not like here, hold my hand, I'm going to teach you how to DJ. It's like what you should learn if you want to get into the DJ scene. So obviously as a DJ, you know, there's a lot of politics and shit involved. So I try and explain and be very honest about, you know, what you're kind of stepping into if you're a young guy or girl wanting to get into the scene. So I had heaps of time to nut that out, hence why I did. And that's gone really good. And actually just on the weekend, I was with a guy, Chad, shout out to Chad from Portland, of all places.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, he's one of 100 that live there. He said he really enjoyed the course, and that's all I want to hear, just trying to help people as much as I can.
Yep.
So that took up a big chunk of my time, but look, I wasn't working at that time, and now, man, I'm just working sort of shift work, so I got a lot of time to sit down and do my own podcast again.
Yep.
And then even the job I do at the airport, we have a lot of downtime in between sort of shit we have to do. So I take my laptop and just make tunes.
Oh, really? You take the most of it at work. Yeah. Sort of getting paid to do what you want to do, plus doing your normal gig. Yeah, that's sick.
But don't tell my manager.
Hopefully they're not listening tonight. But have you had much success from like the bedroom to main room? Have you had like anybody go on to do like some decent gigs, get like booked in that?
Fuck no.
Really?
Nah. Well, no. So I didn't really make it for people to like go, okay. And also, in my defense, it's only been out for like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but fuck, if sorry, I shouldn't say that. But if someone's watched my bedroom to main room stuff and then in 4 months they've gone on to be big, then I've done something right, obviously.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't really make the course for someone to, I guess, get big overnight.
Yeah.
You know, it's just more of a long-term thing. Maybe, you know, in a few years' time, someone will be the next Tiesto and he'll say, hey, I watched your videos back in the day, and that's when I'll fucking come back on here and tell you that someone's done something.
Maybe you can claim some royalties or something.
I'll claim that shit, mate, for sure. 100%.
So where do you sort of see that bedroom to main room thing going? Do you want to continue that, or is that just like a side project, or like what's the idea?
Yeah, it's probably more of a side thing. I just sort of want to let people know that I can be approachable as, I guess, not a mentor, but like as I can offer advice along the way, like ongoing. But I'm probably not going to do any more sort of videos and stuff about it. Yep. But if someone were to approach me and say, g'day, I need help doing this, I'm more than willing to reply and give them advice.
Yeah, there's some good tips on there, man. Like I sussed it out and I'm like, yeah, I mean, if I was a brand new DJ, that would actually really help me. You know, just the stuff around, I think it was like what I watched around, like, why do people smash the Q button so much?
Dude,
it's like the biggest DJ trade, and people probably have no idea why people do that shit.
100%, man.
But man, that's good, man. I'm really keen to see how you go with that. And like, you know, people just need that mentor, that person to show them the first steps. Because fuck, man, I remember when I first started, just nobody looks out for you. Nobody wants to help you, you know, and you just have to fight your own battle. But if you've got someone in your court just doing that
There's a lot of gatekeeping too, you know, like a lot of people will give you what you want to hear to an extent, but they won't give you the full, you know, like whole 9 yards. They'll give you a little bit and then they'll make you work it out. And I'm fuck that. You know, who gives a fuck, man? Like, just help each other out as much as you can.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not like going out there saying KFC need to give us their, like, you know, secret spices sort of thing. Like, I understand that, but like, dude, you're a DJ. And I say this in the course, you're a DJ. You're not fucking solving the world's problems at the end of the day. No offense to all us DJs, but just help each other out.
Nah, that's 100% right. If there was one thing you would tell a new DJ starting out to, you know, stand out from the crowd, sort of get noticed, what would it be, do you reckon?
Probably try and focus and create a brand as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And produce music.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. People get up on stage and they play everybody else's track, which is sick. You know, people can be really good DJs, but I think the thing that makes you stand out the most is when you actually start making your own remixes, bootlegs, your own stuff. Yeah, for sure. What's one thing you would say to avoid? So a brand new DJ comes up, thinks, you know, sometimes they just get this big head about them, thinking they're, you know, the next Tiesto, for example, like you said. Like, what's one thing you think you would tell people to avoid?
Just don't be a cunt. Don't be a dick. Don't be arrogant. And just be very respectful of, I guess, your higher ups. So avoid disrespecting other people, and stay in your lane.
Yeah,
that's literally probably one thing I would avoid not doing. You know, it's like stay in your lane and avoid being disrespectful to everyone else, because you get a bad rap, your name will fly around as quick as possible, and you're not going to get very far.
I see it all the time.
Yeah.
People that like, or don't even make time for, like, you know, the lower DJs, or people that are just starting out, even their fans, like they just, and then they get noticed straight away and they don't go too far. So you bang on the money. Just be a nice person, show support. I reckon that's the one key to sort of getting your foot in the door at the first bit.
100%.
If there was one thing you wish you knew starting up and that you know now, what would it be?
Oh, man. Okay, well, I'll be honest with you. Us DJs don't get as much pussy as you'll think. And I think that's one thing I wish I knew before getting into this shit.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
No, I just don't think I play my cards right. Look, I think one thing I wish I knew was probably oh, man. I think the more serious you take it, the more you'll get out of it. So, and I think that's something, and I think I took it seriously, you know, to an extent, and I still do. Yeah. But there's people out there that I think just do it for a hobby, and they kind of expect more out of it. So I think one thing they should know, one thing, you know, I wish I knew, is probably just go all guns blazing. You're young, just have a crack at it. Give it a year or 2, 3, you know, as long as you can. Like, it's pretty tough. It's a long road. It's a long thing. It's a long grind, and you know, unless you build Sparks, nothing really happens overnight.
It's a sprint. No, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
It is exactly right, man. Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't just happen overnight. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
All right, I just want to talk a little bit about your music, man, because I know you had a lot of success with your number one Beatport chart tunes, the you know, the Huntsman, Sky High, you know, Lick It, all those tunes that sort of went off. It was about a year or so ago. I think I was stalking your SoundCloud. I know you got heaps of bootlegs and stuff. I think you just released one recently, that Miracle one, which we were just talking about offline. That was sick. Is there any more originals or anything coming out that you're working on that you could talk about, or?
Probably not so much originals at the moment, but I do have a lot of edits and bootlegs again.
Yeah.
The original side of things is a little bit slow, to be completely honest with you, because I'm just kind of trying to find that new sound at the moment. I know we're all sort of heading towards a bit faster, heavier style of tunes, and I'm adapting to that at the moment. Like, I've got 3 or 4 songs at the moment that are way quicker, way harder, and way probably more fucked up than like what I've ever really made.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's like techno, but it's sort of like that fast, minimal techno-y stuff. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, man, I'm enjoying making it.
Yeah.
So you can expect a lot of bootlegs, edits, and then probably originals coming out of that, because some of the bootlegs I'm making, if I just got rid of the acapella, I believe I've got an original pretty much there.
Yeah.
So you'll probably hear original stuff, but all the marketing and pushing that comes with originals, I just don't know if I can be fucked doing too much anymore, to be honest. Because there's a lot that goes into it that people probably don't understand. I mean, it's more than just sitting down making a song and then what? You know, you got to then distribute it on Spotify. You got to get plays. If you don't get plays, it's like the algorithm's not going to pick up. There's a lot of shit that goes into it that people don't understand, which at the moment I can't really bother with. I'm happy to sort of doing TikTok videos with my music in it. SoundCloud free downloads, just keep the DJs happy with music, and I'm happy doing that. But originals will come back for sure.
Yeah, no, I think you sort of hit the nail on the head with the algorithm. I see these tunes, these big DJs releasing these epic originals, right? And then they sit on SoundCloud with like 300 plays.
Yeah, dude.
And I'm like, dude, this is like a tune. It should be on main stage. It should be going off. How is it not taken off? And it's just, it's how you market it. The tune could be the best bloody next banger, but unless it gets marketed properly, unless the algorithm picks it up, no one's going to hear it.
And that goes back to what I said about one thing, if you were just starting out, build a brand. Everything these days is marketing and building a brand.
Yep.
So that all ties in. So you just hit your nail on the head for sure, bro. 100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, keen to see the next bootlegs and stuff. But you sort of touched on this before, and it was going to be my next question. But how do you sort of hear that Melbourne minimal sound that we're all sort of used to growing up? It's been like the staple for Melbourne, and I think people are potentially sort of shifting away from it. What's your sort of views on that?
Yeah, it's. I'm enjoying what's coming out at the moment from like everyone, really. You know, you got some young guns like Anastovsky.
Yeah.
I think Markovsky. You know, they're all skis. They're making some heavy like techno minimal bangers and stuff, and I'm enjoying that because it's fresh. It's something new to hear. You know, because to be honest, for a while there, we're all going to the same clubs, listening to the same shit music. Yeah. Like it wasn't shit, but it was all very repetitive.
Yeah.
So it's been quite fresh to hear all that and see everyone adapt to it. I think, you know, going forward, I mean, it's interesting because like everyone just wants it harder and faster now. And it just sort of does like a loop. I'm finding like the music scene goes in like circles. Like, you know, before we know it, we'll probably be back to like those old school trance type days. Like that's all, you know, you listen to Miracle by Calvin Harris, that's almost like borderline old school sort of trancey.
Yeah. You're the second person that said trance is going to be the next thing that takes off.
There you go. And I think it is, man. It seems like a techno-y, trancey hybrid, I believe. I think that's where we're going. But I think it's exciting, bro.
Yeah.
Because, you know, fuck, what's the point sitting there doing the same shit?
Yeah, kicking bass and a rumble.
Exactly right. Exactly. So I think, if everyone keeps pushing that, I guess, movement, we'll make something out of it.
Yeah, well, keen to see what happens. I'm really excited about the whole new stuff, the whole big room techno sort of vibe.
I think it's going to give opportunity for DJs in Australia to go overseas because they play techno overseas, and you know they don't always play minimal and stuff overseas. It's very niche. Whereas now it might expand it, so you know some of the up and comers or even the older guys, whatever. It might get more opportunities to go overseas, and it might be a bit more of an international thing.
Well, did you see, what was it? I don't know if you went to Ultra recently, and they had Hardwell playing, obviously one of the biggest names of the scene, pulls out Short Round, pulls out Lister, plays their tracks.
Perfect.
Like, and that's he's like one of the biggest guys, and these are just local Melbourne DJs.
Mate, 100%. There you go.
Yeah.
So like we're finally getting on the map for the right reasons other than Melbourne Bounce. It's probably the first time since Melbourne Bounce, to be completely honest, that people are now like,
besides
like
Will
eyes.
Sparks or something.
Of course,
that's
of course.
But, you know, Will Sparks is Will Sparks.
He's in his own league.
All right, I want to talk a little bit about you know, the DJ industry a little bit with you. So this is a bit of a touchy subject, but I want to hear your thoughts on it. So, you know, some argue that the DJ industry has become, you know, a lot more about image and branding than it is about actual talent. Like, I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but, you know, what's your perspective? Because I see sometimes DJs come on and they get booked because they're at TikTok and they have 20,000 followers or something like that. What are your thoughts on, you know, DJs of the scene currently now?
I think I think so. It's a hard one to answer because I can really appreciate and respect the people that put the grind into TikTok and stuff. Because TikTok's just like any other app, man. You got to put in the time, you got to build an audience, and that's fucking pretty impressive if you can pull that off. And you know, you got people listening to your shit through that. That's cool. And I also think now nightclubs are, because the scene is so stagnant. You know, they're playing the same headliners and the same promoters. They'll just, if someone's showing a bit of vibe and a bit of, you know, something different, they'll latch onto them and they'll book them. So I have no problem with it, to be completely honest with you. I don't care if you got big off TikTok and then you got gigs, just as long as you can fucking beat match, you know, and as long as you can actually DJ. I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I mean, we're in a time now, man, where you can use anything to get your music out. And TikTok's obviously a massive thing. TikTok started as an app that you can actually, you know, it was a music app. So I have no problem with that. And to be clear and honest with you, man, if I had a song that went viral on TikTok and I got gigs off it, I'd be laughing.
Yeah.
And I think everyone would.
Yeah.
I just think a lot of people maybe can be a bit jealous and a little bit off it for those reasons.
No, I agree, man. I think if you've put the effort into TikTok and you got followers, then there's obviously something you're doing right.
100%.
And if you're a club and you want people to come to your club, what are you going to do? You're going to book old mate down the road, or you're going to book the guy that has 20,000 followers.
Exactly right. At the end of the day, man, clubs are a business and they want to make money. And fuck, if you're, if you got me sitting here or Tiesto, they're going to book fucking Tiesto because he'll put more asses on seats than little Jono Toscano would, And that's just the reality of it, man. And that's just, that's the scene.
Nah, of course. I want to also talk a little bit about, you put this up on your vlog, on the Jono Shout, and I thought it was really interesting about DJing and having anxiety. So
I thought you were going to mention how I was talking about the price of cocaine in Australia being way too high.
Well, we're sort of on the radio, so I mean, I sort of can't touch on that.
So play on. Yes.
So DJing and having anxiety, like, because the big thing about being a DJ is you're a performer, right? You can't just stand up in front of the decks and just freeze up like that. No one's going to get around it. People vibing off you. So, being a DJ, having anxiety, having to deal with that. How do you still put on a show? Like, how do you deal with it?
Drink. Nah, so when I talk about like anxiety and like having anxiety, like I don't have crippling anxiety. Like I don't stand in front of people and like shit myself. Like I can hold a conversation and I'm social and it's all good. There's just like things during the week where, like it'll affect me more times than others. During the weekend, I don't know, DJing, it's kind of a distraction in a little way. It sounds so cliche, but like when you're up there, man, you got to think about like what's going on. You got too much to think about, or personally I've got too much to think about, and that's the way my brain works, to sit there and go, oh, I'm anxious. And to be honest, man, yes, drinking probably helps. It definitely
liquid courage.
Yeah, it gives you a bit of liquid courage. So I find it easy, but to deal with it, and I'll say it, mate. I'm on these medication that help. That help. I'm on sertraline, mate, and so is my neighbour. Shout out to Freddie.
Shout out, yep.
Freddie's a good man. So man, I don't know. It's a hard question to answer, I think, because everyone deals with it differently and everyone suffers differently, I guess. I mean, I'm not sitting here crippled with it. So I'm probably one of the lucky ones.
Yeah, all right. So you just got to deal with the hands you dealt, really.
I think you deal with it in your own way.
Yeah.
Deal with it in your own way. And if you are a DJ or a performer and you have anxiety and stuff like that, you'll find, like naturally, you'll find a way to deal with it. You can't listen to many other people. It's just the way you'll fall into this little hole and you'll find your way to deal with whatever you're going through. And yeah, I'm sure you'll be fine. And if you're struggling, man, go speak to someone. That's probably one of my biggest things. I spoke to a guy, Brett. He was a fucking legend for like a month or two during COVID. And yeah, definitely speak to a psychologist if that's what you need, because it's
definitely helps.
Life changing.
Man, I respect that, because not many people are open about that stuff. People try and hide it in the closet, and it's something we need to talk about more as DJs. So I respect that you're sort of open about all that stuff, because it's not something that's easily.
Well, man, everyone's got some sort of anxiety or some sort of I don't know. Everyone goes through these phases growing up, man. We're at this age of the world's pretty fucked up at the moment, to be honest. Like it's hard. Like we're growing up at a pretty. Yeah. I'm not going to say we're growing up at a tough time, because people going to war at our age, 50, 60, whatever years ago. But like we're still struggling because like cost of living is through the roof. COVID ruined a lot of people. So like we've had to deal with our own stuff. So I think it's normal and it's got to be spoken about. Don't be ashamed to talk about your feelings, man. I mean, it's normal.
Yeah, definitely different times for sure. All right, you obviously mentioned you drink a little bit when you DJ. I mean, we all do. No one's perfect here. But what is the most messed up you've ever been when DJing, and did it work out?
So I can't. No, yes, it didn't work out. I can't really pinpoint one night where I was like super messed up.
Okay.
Because there's probably been a few. But there was one night in particular, I think it was Cloud9's was it 10th birthday or something? We had Lockdown playing, I think Press Play was playing, I was playing after Lockdown or before in and I remember 2 minutes before my set, I had to run to the bathroom and just spew everywhere. I think everyone was playing. We all went to one of the boys' houses before. It was a great night.
Yeah.
But I've never really been able to DJ well, if I mean like super pissed.
Yeah.
And it's been like that since I first ever started DJing. I just you start trying to beat match and everything just muffles up. It's just how I can't do it. It's scary. It's weird. It's like everything just goes blur, blur. I can't do it. So I've always tried to stop at a certain point before starting. That Cloud9 night, I didn't stop. And I was vomiting like 2 minutes before my set. And I played after lockdown. He's like, where have you been, bro? I'm like, wiping my face. It's like, oh, sorry, man. I just had to take a piss. But yeah, I've never like woken up on the gutter or anything.
No.
I kind of try and handle it as much as I can.
It's funny though, because you see DJs in the scene that are messed up and they go up and play these amazing sets.
Yeah.
I'm the same, man. I can't concentrate. Like
Nah,
if I'm on too much stuff and I'm drinking it, I'm like, nah, there's no way I'm going to be able to get up there and DJ.
No way, bro. Yeah, you need to have a little bit of wits about you.
Yeah, for sure. All right, like, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Melbourne nightlife because I think we're all sort of going through a little bit of a transitional stage at the moment. You know, are you getting impacted at the fact that a lot of these clubs are shutting, the fact that, it's less and less people are going out? Do you find that you're getting less gigs?
100%. I'm finding, and it's probably been for the probably since COVID, I'm finding I'm getting less gigs in Melbourne. Because clubs are shutting down, clubs are tightening down on who they're booking because like they're looking after their promoters and stuff, which is fair enough. Like their promoter DJs, I should say. But the silver lining to that is I've been able to travel and play at some rural interstate places that I would never probably play otherwise. Like your Adelaides, I play Swan Hill a lot. I'm there literally in a couple of nights. I've got like a fucking gig in Bundaberg in Queensland, like Coffs Harbour, so Tassie, like all. So that's a silver lining, I think, for me, and I think that's where I'm at in my, I guess, career. Is I would rather those out of town gigs. So it's probably worked in my favour, but 100% it's changed in the sense that not everyone's getting as many gigs. I don't think in Melbourne because they're shutting down or rebranding. Because we're going through a transitional phase, like you said.
Yeah, I know. And it's interesting you sort of mentioned those rural gigs because I remember seeing you post on the weekend. You're like, tell me how good of a job it is to DJ when I've got to travel home like 6 hours or something.
I was in Portland, man. I woke up at 9 a.m. and I got out of there as soon as I could via McDonald's. And I actually put up that story while I was at McDonald's drive-through because it said like 4 hours and 14 minutes to get home. And I was pretty hungover. Yeah. And I thought, fuck me. Like, I've got a 4-hour drive ahead of me and I'm like, my head's kind of splitting and mouth's dry. Oh, I can't say that on the podcast because on the radio. But, there was a bit of uncomfortable areas in my body driving home. So, yeah, and I think the caption was, tell me DJing's the best job when you've got this drive ahead of you when you're hungover, sort of thing.
Yeah, so you still love the rural gigs?
Still love it, I do, but if they could fucking fly me there next time, that'd be great.
Oh, so they don't even put you on a flight?
Not for Portland, but for most of them they do, but not for Portland. I think Portland, it's same as Swan Hill. It's like it's an awkward place. If you want to fly to Portland, you sort of have to fly to Mount Gambier, I think, and then get to Portland, which is like 2 hours away, I think. Same with like if you have to fly to Swan Hill, you have to fly to Mildura and then drive 2 hours anyway to Swan Hill. Yep. So you may as well just drive 4 hours.
Yeah.
And just cop it. I mean, obviously the fee covers it a bit. They give you accommodation and stuff, but yeah, I mean, I work for an airline. They should be flying me fucking cheap. Dogs.
That's actually, that's quite funny. But you sort of touched on the fee and stuff. Like, I understand that if you're going further out and you're going to those rural gigs, you're obviously wanting, or usually you'd get paid a little bit more and that sort of thing. But can we talk a little bit about like fees? Obviously, I don't want to know numbers or anything like that, but I just want to know, like, the conception of being a DJ, do you think the money is as exciting or as much as what people think?
Oh, yeah, no, probably not. I mean, especially locally, like in Melbourne, the money's, I'll say, it's fuck all, really. Like, it's maybe a couple $100 if you're maybe a headliner.
Really?
It could range from a couple $100 to a few $100. Then that, like, you can...
For a headliner, really? For a headliner,
yeah. It's not much in Melbourne. It's because there's so many to choose from.
Yeah.
They don't have to travel far. And they've got the monopoly over the DJs. It's like, oh, if you don't want to play here, then fuck off. Yeah. It's kind of like, oh, shit, okay, it's the supply and demand sort of thing. Whereas, obviously, rural clubs, man, they get us once a month So you can ask for more. And they have more money because, you know, everyone's probably going to go out because it's once a month. I mean, they're not having, like, the novelty is still there of going out once a month, whatever. So, what was your question again?
Well, just wanting to know if the money is as good as people think it is.
Not when you start out, definitely not. But when you become a headliner, the money can be good.
Yeah.
If you're smart with it.
Because you just mentioned before you also have a day job, so like you obviously need to survive with your day job as well to be able to, you know, afford to live and survive. Essentially, you can't just survive just off DJing.
Well, it depends on case by case, man. I mean, personally, I probably couldn't survive off like renting and shit and living off just DJing at the moment. But there's other people out there that 100% could.
Yeah.
So it's case by case, whoever you are, however big you are.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't see Sparksy out there throwing a hammer around. You know, like he's all right.
Yeah, no. But how long do you reckon it takes to get to that point? Like, you've got to be grinded for years and years.
Yeah, but again, like, it goes back to the whole TikTok thing. What if you go viral overnight? I mean, you could be sweet in a month, but you're right. You have to hit a certain stature and a certain point, I guess, to play headline gigs and bring people to that club to demand that money.
Yeah.
And that's when you can probably start living off it. Yeah. It's tough, man. It's tough. I'll never forget, bro. So I got an older brother that no one knows about, probably because he's way smarter than me. He's a lawyer and he lives in London, right? I work at the airport in Melbourne. You do the fucking maths, mate. And he actually told me, because I remember when I first started listening to the bangers, he got me onto him. And he's like, man, like I was like, oh, I want to do this. Like, you know, Sparksy, he done it. I'm going to do this. I was like 15. And he goes, Jono, mate, like, you got to be really good to make like a living off this. I was like, fuck off, Ben, you know, no, you don't have, like, whatever, you don't know anything. And a young prick I was. And now I sit back and go, yeah, he was right. Like, he was very right. Yeah, I should have been a lawyer. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's probably not great at the start, but, mate, yeah, you put in the effort and stuff, you'll get the rewards.
Yeah, eventually. It's just the grind, eh?
Grind it.
All right, I'm going to ask 2 random questions, and then we've got to get into some music because we've been talking forever. What do you think is the biggest misconception about DJs? So if you tell somebody you're a DJ, what do you think people think?
Well, like I said before, they reckon we swim in heaps of vagina. I mean, or if you're, you know, into the other stuff and you just swim in that. It's not true. Like, it can be true, but maybe I'm doing something wrong. And also, like, it's not the best lifestyle.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
true.
think. Like, overall, it's not a great lifestyle.
Yeah.
I think the misconception is, you know, you go party, you get paid to party, you get paid to, you know, hang out with chicks. Like, it's not that.
No.
And I haven't experienced it at the level of, you know, some other artists, but I can only imagine how hard it would be having to fly, like, multiple times a week to gigs. Like, it'd take a toll on your body, man. You know, you go on one flight, bro, you wake up hungover, you know, jet lagged, going to Adelaide. Like, imagine having to fly around the world just to go to gigs. Like, it'd be tough.
Yeah, well, that's, you know, Avicii's the biggest one in history that I think we know about.
Yeah.
He just got burnt out because he was just...
That's right, man.
And then,
and look what happens, man. Yeah. Like, it gets too much. So I think the lifestyle and the amount of attention you get is probably a misconception.
Yeah, okay, true. And final question, man. What is the most cooked thing you've ever seen behind the deck? So you're playing a gig. What's, like, the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen?
Would you believe me if I said to you, I was at a rural gig like 4 or 5 months ago, man, and I looked over and a girl was sucking some guy off.
No way.
Yeah. That's probably the worst thing and the most hectic thing I've ever seen.
In the middle of the dance floor?
No, so they were sort of in the corner of the room. I mean, they probably thought they were hiding, but dude, she was sucking him off. I'm not going to say where it was. But that was probably the most fucked up thing I've ever seen. It did turn me on, though.
Oh, God.
And I tried to get a number, but she didn't fucking give it to me.
And you're the DJ.
Yeah. See? Misconception, bro. If it was true, she would have given me her number. But she didn't.
Just old mate in the corner.
Yeah.
All right, man. Look, we'll get into the tunes, man. But what should we expect to hear from your set, man?
I'm going to play some of those bootlegs edits that I was talking about before. I'm going to play, I guess, sort of like a typical set that you'd hear from me at these rural joints. Yep. Heavy, minimal, fast, sort of shit like that.
Yeah, awesome,
I'm
man.
keen
I'm keen
to
to
do
hear
it.
some of these bootlegs and some unreleased stuff that I know
Yeah.
you've got.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, please welcome Mr. Jono Toscano.
Yeah, boy.